Welcome to this session. I will show the new support for SAP HANA in Spectrum Protect Plus. In this session, we will register an SAP HANA system with the Spectrum Protect Plus UI. We will make sure that all the prerequisites are met, check the users, then register that system with these users, enable log backup for that system, and finally assign it to an SLA to run a backup. Let's begin with the users that we need for that purpose. That session is shelled to the SAP HANA system. I'm the root user here. To register that system with Spectrum Protect Plus, we need an operating system user on that host. And that is already created. Name is SPP agent. So we have that user here. One important thing is that user must be configured to run sudo commands without a password prompt. We can check that here. With this configuration, that user is allowed to run any command as the super user root, and there will be no question for the password. So that will be running in unattended mode. To confirm everything is working, we switch to that user and try to access some folder that we are not allowed to. Now run that with sudo, and it's working. It does not prompt for a password, so that setup is okay. Perfect. Then we need database user for the SAP HANA system that allows to connect to SAP HANA and perform some tasks. For that purpose, I switch over to the database administration user. So that's the admin user for the SAP HANA instance. And we do need to create database user inside a database. I have prepared a tiny script for that. That script will first create a user, it's named SPP, will set the password and prevent that prompt when the user logs first on to change that password again. And then the next step is to grant certain privileges to that user that are required for Spectrum Protect Plus to change settings in SAP HANA, to perform the log backup, to create the snapshot for the backup, or to recover the database when we are doing a restore. That last command here is not needed. It will just run a query against the database and print out all the privileges that we have assigned to that user. Then I will run that script. Okay, it succeeded, and we get an output of all the privileges that we have requested. So that seems to be okay. With that, all the preparations are complete, and we can switch to the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface, and we go to the databases, SAP HANA. Currently, there's no system registered here, so we are going to add a new application server. We enter the host name. We get the server key. That is the key that is presented by the SSH connection. In a production environment, we would probably compare the fingerprint to make sure we connect to the proper system. And then we enter that operating system user that we have created here. It's SPP agent, password. And that's pretty much all. Now we can press the button Get Instances. That's running for a while. With the first connection to that system, the Spectrum Protect Plus server connects to the host where SAP HANA is running on and copies over the files for the application agent and then executes the application agent, which will detect what instances are residing on that host. Okay, the instance on the system, the SAP instance, was detected, and currently it says it's not configured because we need credentials to access that SAP HANA instance. So we press the button Set Credentials, and now we enter the user that we have created before inside the database. Okay, now it says it's configured, everything is okay, and we can press the Save button. Now that system has been registered successfully. Currently, it does not show up here because an inventory is running. We can see that under the jobs. Here is it running. And this inventory would now use the database user and credentials to connect to the SAP HANA instance so that it can gather additional informations like what kind of tenants are running on that instance. Okay, the job completed and it was successfully. And if we scroll down, we see we have detected the system database and the default tenant that has the same name as the instance. So that was expected for that system, so everything was okay. Now we can move on and enable log backup for that instance. So we go back, select that entry that represents all the databases in that system, select options, enable log backup, save, that's done. And now we assign an SLA policy. We want to use the demo policy for that. And click save. Just check it's correctly assigned. And now we could start that policy just to check if the backup would be running successfully. Okay, that job is running, and we could now switch over here to watch that backup job running. So with that SLA, according to its characteristics, whenever that is scheduled, that system would be included and run its backups. And with the very first backup that is running, the system settings will also be changed, that SAP Hana is doing the log backup to the Spectrum Protect Plus vSnap repository, so that both the database backups and also the reader log backups are all retained on vSnap storage. And the backup, from a SAP Hana perspective, it's always a full backup, or from a SAP Hana perspective, even it's a snapshot. Then according to the Spectrum Protect Plus characteristics, we copy over all the changed data over to the vSnap repository. So the first will be a full, we copy everything, and starting with the next one, it will be an incremental. Okay, the backup did complete successfully, and that's all I wanted to show with regards to this backup. Just be sure to check out the other videos where we show a restore of that system. Thanks for watching.